Hey everyone, it is Sunday, December 15th. We're just doing a quick weekly recap from December 9th to the 13th. And I want to take this opportunity also to teach you something about Moby, because really what we want to do is get you the most actionable trade information in as few clicks as possible. So we will have a quick look at our trades for the week, and you can watch the other videos because we're calling them out every day. So we called out 10 trades this week, and we had 9 wins and 1 loss, and our loss was 20 cents, which actually wasn't too bad. And the way that we're calculating this is we're doing it based on 1 share, right? So whether you're trading multiple shares or if you're trading options or something like that, what we're looking for is that our strategy is correct. And then if the strategy is correct, then you have the confidence, and this is back testing for you, that you have the confidence in setting up these trades yourself and then moving forward with taking the trade. So if you watch my previous videos, you'll actually see how we're setting up the trades, and then we're mapping them out this way. So for example, when we mapped out Tiger December 9th, we were bullish above a specific price, and then we had a target where we would take profit. We were in at 7.15, first target 7.50, second target is the dollar level. And notice I'm using these fractions, so a $0.50 and the full dollar. And then the other thing too is there space for it to move? So when we're trading stocks, and if it's a lower price stock, we might want to be able to make 20 cents on it, which is pretty good, say on a $7 stock. But you also want to look at the ATR, the average true range, and I use an ATR of 14 days. So what would the stock move in average in 14 days on a daily chart? So Tiger might be more, like it might move $1 a day, which means that's great because it's more volatile. If it was going to move $1 on a $7 stock, then that means that you have more ability to make some good money. So there are some slower moving stocks that might only trade 5, 10, 15 cents in a day, and that's really difficult for day trading. It might be better for a swing on some of these stocks, but overall, if you're day trading, you want to find things that are actually going to move. And that's why we focus on pre-market volume, because if you have a lot of trades, if you have a lot of shares traded pre-market, say over 100,000 shares, then that means that's an accumulation. The volume is the gas that moves the market, right? So if we see a lot of volume coming in pre-market, those are the ones that are going to have some momentum and the ability to make some money during the day. So that's where we actually start with these, with Moby, with the pre-market volume on the dashboard. And then you can see which ones are moving. And so we mapped out these ones here, and then so what I'm doing is I'm mapping them out, and I use something called Person's Pivots, and I find that they work very well. I started trading in 2016, and I swear by them, and they work for this. So I have a specific system for the trades that I pick out and the way that I trade personally, and then I use pretty much a couple indicators, and that's it. And I'm looking for momentum here. I also do swing trading as well, but what we're looking for is, well, what I've been sharing with you are day trades. Eventually we'll get into some swing trading and show you some of that as well. So we went through these, and these were all of the ones where we actually made some money. So for example, BABA, we were bullish above 92, but only went to 94. So that gave us $2. Some of them, they don't hit bullish above or bearish below. And a note about that is that I don't have a bias in the stock. I'm not bullish or bearish on it, but I do see potential for it to go either way. So we need a plan, because if, say, for example, you're just bullish on a stock, this is going to take off. But then it starts going the other way, and then if you wanted to take it as a short, well, then you've got to map it all out. So what we've done is, a lot of these, for example, Tesla was a great trade this day. We were in at 395 all the way to 399, but if we broke below 390, right, because pre-market we were below 395, if we broke below 390, we also had targets set already mapped out. And so this one actually gave us a $4 trade. So our total trades for the week were 10, for a total of $26.27. We had 9 wins, for $26.47 and one loss for 20 cents here. And that Intel. And Intel had millions and millions of prints. And I thought, well, if it breaks below 20, then we'd have a good short. It was sitting there, it might be turning around. The other thing too is when you have lots of pre-market volume, you can keep an eye on these stocks too, because if it's something that hasn't been on the radar for a while, that means they're probably gearing up for a larger move. So if you trade Bobber or Qubit or Tesla usually is way up there with pre-market volume anyway, but some of these you might see on different days. So Tesla was here a couple times, and let's see if we traded it the week before. I don't remember. No, but we had ETHU, that's been on there. IBIT's been on there. And for example, in the last week, has had millions of trades, millions of shares. So if we go back and look at Moby on IBIT, we can see there's lots of volume coming in, but we were trading this back December 5th, although we did lose on here, but the point is there was lots of pre-market volume on that one. And PLTR, and if you look at the chart on PLTR, that's really taken off, right? 73 to 76. I think we're around 77 or 78 now. So it's been splashing around. And here on December 4th, we had a trade set up, but it didn't hit our bullish above. But then we actually traded again on the 6th, and we were able to make 250. So some of these that are moving now, you might want to put on your watch list because they might eventually be a swing trade. So if we have increasing volume on the day trade and it's poking above, I like the bullish engulfing patterns, especially at support, then we might have a longer trade to the upside. As long as there's no noise, moving averages, support, resistance, things like that above if we're going long, or below if we're going short, if there's lots of room for it to move, then fantastic. And I keep an eye out for the dollar levels, for example, an even 30 or 31 or 32.50, things like that. Those are really, really important. They're psychological levels as well. So that's how these are working out. And so our totals, so this was 83%. So we took 6 trades for a total of 83%, and we kept our losses really small and our wins were actually pretty good. So 20-cent loss and 10.85 win for a net 10.65 here. So that's actually really good. And then the 9th to the 13th, 10 trades, 9 wins, 1 loss. And it just so happened that that was 20 cents there. Our Mara trade here, we got stopped out on the long side, but we were able to take a short that we mapped out. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier of not having a bias and being ready for both sides of the trade. And so you can watch my videos on that as well. So we had this, I put a note here that we were stopped out on the long side, and then we had this trade from 22.74 down to 22.42. So after it was said and done, it was a 2-cent profit. So this was kind of a break even. So I've got a running total here that we share. We've got a total of 16 trades. So since we started doing this December 3rd, 14 wins and 2 losses. So we've got 36.92 in total trades. 37.32 was our wins, and our losses was 40 cents for a net of 36.92. Okay, so I want to show you something because you've been seeing my videos every day, which you can see on the channel and go back and see how we map these things out. I want to have a quick discussion about finding swing trades. So Moby here has an opportunities tab. Now our goal is to get you the most actionable trade information in as few clicks as possible. So what we're doing is we're tracking every price fluctuation on about 10,000 stocks. I think it's about 9,900 and change. So we're getting all of the market data, every trade, and we're doing a whole bunch of calculations here. So what we have here, this is telling us that we have 100 opportunities. So out of the 10,000 stocks that we have, there's 100 opportunities. Now this gives us the ability to go long, short, or neutral. And the whole point, I'll just cover this really quickly. This here, when we look at prints, I've got this set for a minimum size of cumulative 1 million shares. over the last 10 trading days with a minimum price of $5 a share and no maximum price, and a minimum daily volume of 3 million shares. So I'm looking for stocks that have a higher volume during the day on average, and they have a lot of prints, and whether we're above or below them. So if we were to look for longs, what we're looking for is we want the price to be above the prints. So this is 243.07. There was a 1 million on Apple, and that was from December 6th. And we're at 248. And the net change on the day is we're up. So what we're looking for is the price to be above the recent prints and closing in the positive. So above yesterday's close. Now these signals, I haven't talked too much about the moving averages that I use. I only use 2 currently to analyze a dynamic trend. So you can draw trend lines, you can use things like MACD, RSI, things like that. What I'm using is a 4 exponential moving average and an 8 exponential moving average. Now the 8 exponential moving average is a dynamic support and resistance, and you'll see that when you start looking at the charts in Moby. And the 4 is a faster period moving average, and that's a stronger trend. And so what we want is if the price is closing above the 8 EMA, that's bullish. So if I hover over this, we have 3, this is like a little battery thing. So there's 3 parameters here. The first one is if the bullish price is above the 8 EMA, you get 1 green, I guess these are like, the icon is like little batteries. If there's a second one in there, then the volume is greater than the day before. The bullish volume above the 8 EMA with increasing volume, right? Volume is the gas that moves the market. Now the third one is bullish confirmed where the 4 EMA has crossed above the 8 EMA. Okay, so we get those sorts of things. So what I can do here is, I'll explain one other thing. Although this is showing bullish for American Airlines, we closed below the recent prints here, 1735. We closed below that. We're at 1695. We're down on the day, but we are still above the 4 and the 8 EMA. So I'm not really interested in that at the moment. And the neutral ones here are where we're in between the prints. So this is 126.40, and if I look at this, see the high is 126.97 and the low is 125.01, and you see that there's 3.8 million, 3.6 million shares in between there. So it either has to break and close above or close below. So what I want to do now is, since we have 10,000 stocks, but we have 100 opportunities, let's narrow this down a bit. I'm going to untick neutral. That gets us down to 81 opportunities now. If we're looking specifically for longs, I'm going to untick shorts. That actually gives us 21. Now, one thing I want to mention about that is if I put shorts back, that's 81. If I take shorts out, that only gives us 21. So that means 3/4 of our trade setups are bearish, right? If we wind up doing that, and we see some of these. Now, the other thing for longs, I'm not interested if we're closing, if the net changes negative on the day to go long. And then I also want a bullish signal. So on my signals, I'm going to untick the bearish ones. That gets us down to 15 opportunities. So here, if we look at Apple, we had 1 million at 243. So if we click on Apple, this is going to open a chart here. And this is the daily chart. And so what we see here is with very thin candles, but there are trades coming in. So on Apple, let me go and look at the trades that are 400,000 shares cumulative or higher. Okay, so on December 13th, which is Friday, we have all of these ones. There's a 248.13, 1.3 million. So if I click on this, it adds it to the chart. So now what we can do is we can see, going back, we can see where the institutions are accumulating shares or distributing, right, if it's bearish. Because we were looking for a bullish entry, because that's what we actually chose. And I'll give you an example. We had this really large print here, 6.9 million, started way back here. And we can see that this pushed it down, but then we got 6 million here. And so when this actually, we get the print, we move down, usually it'll splash in the opposite direction, but here they're adding to their position, clearly at this point. And then this moved up, closed above this print, and that is a decent long entry. Also, if you were trading this and you saw this as bullish or closing above this print, especially when this is a doji, and this one here, it could be bearish. The one thing that is bullish for that is that it opened, came down, touched this 6 million print, and pushed off it. Now, that could be a bullish signal. Me personally, I like specific candlestick patterns. I like the something called a 3-line strike, and I don't really see one. We'll see if we see one on another chart, but I like it when it's bouncing off of support at some point. And here, the support and resistance actually are the prints. Okay, so looking at this, let's see. So we're at 247.57. This here with the calendar is showing us all of the prints in the last year. By default, it's the last year. So I can click by price and see what the highest prices are. The lowest was 165, and the highest is 248.13, right? I think we talked about that one already. And so there's this one, 246.75 was a million, 247, right? So when we add these here, there's another million, 243.07, and then let's see what else we have, 243.01. That's sitting at the, so 243.07 and 01, that's 2.8 million there. And when you think of that, the dollar value of this, you know, a million times 242 is $242 million. And let's see what else we have here, 239. So you can see this sort of thing. They're adding to their position. You can see this here, and they're coming up. So now, what are we doing? So if we were swinging this, we have to make sure that we close strong and above the prints. I want to see what happens. So you can see the blue line is the 8 EMA, and the red line is the 4 EMA. We can turn those on or off if we like. When the 4 EMA crosses the 8 EMA, that's bearish confirmation. Look at this. We have this setup here, which is bearish. We're closing below prints here, a 3.9 million. And then we have increasing volume on this red candle. And then, so that might be a good shorting opportunity with your stop above the candle. And this comes all the way down and touches a 6.9 million print. So these are the sorts of things that we're looking for. We're looking for increasing volume and a close above for a potential trend reversal. And this is the first one up above the 8 EMA. Now, if you're swinging this and just holding shares, your risk would be the close of this candle, 224.63, and then it'd have to close below it, which is the low 224.57, is that right? No, the high 227, so about 228, and then the low would be 224.50. That'd be about a $4 move on this. This pulled back a little bit more and then sat on these prints, and then it did it again. So we're looking with the increasing volume. One of the other things that we look at is when this 4 EMA actually crosses the 8 EMA to signal a longer term trend. And we see that here, the first day where it closes is something like this. So we've moved up, there's a low, and then there's a high, higher low, higher high. And then if you're doing options, you could go out, whatever the ATR is on Apple, it's probably several dollars, you could go out like $15 for 6 weeks or 8 weeks on a spread or something like that. And if you wind up, even back here, taking that trade, well, if you go out 30 days, for example, well, that's 22 daily candles. And it's like, okay, well, if the ATR is $7, and say I double the ATR, say $15, if I go $15 out of the money and give it 30 or 45 days, so say 20 candles. If we're sitting here at 228 and I give it 20 candles, and then I get the 240s or 242s, well, if we count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, by the time this actually closes, this is very close, right? So you can take some profit on the way up on your options, but this one here in 20 days hits our target and closes above. And if you're doing option spreads, that's full profit for you on that when you see this sort of thing. So we've looked at one stock here. What I am looking for really is, as we keep an eye on Moby and start watching specific stocks, when they make specific patterns and they're finding support at prints and they start moving up, that's great, because if you keep seeing prints day in and day out, they're not done entering their position. When they're done entering their position, then the stock is really going to move, right? So we can see this with all of these green candles here. So let's see if we can find something else. Okay, so I've clicked on Boeing on the list as well. There was only 15 of them that were there. And I want to show you something that I like for patterns. And one of them is right here. You have increasing volume. We've got a down day. This is increasing volume, but this one is almost a bullish engulfing. I mean, the bottom of the candle doesn't come down. I was looking for the body to engulf this one, but we have increasing volume and we're closing above prints. That's fantastic. Even though this is a bit of a range here, this is slightly moving up, right? We had this massive volume down. This is a good entry. And then where's your target, right? Well, this came up 180. Right, but the thing is if we look at the ATR on Boeing, I think that's $6 or $7 a day, maybe more. So if we're going out on a swing, then go a couple ATRs and go out 30 days. And then, because as you can use it as a vehicle, because as this moves up, say from here as an example, this close was 168, and then it goes up in 4 days, it's 180. So that's $12. Right, so even if you had went out a month and went $16, $20, by the time you get up to 180, which is a major psychological level, could at least be taking some profit. So say, for example, you had 5 contracts and you took half off the table there, and then we pull back and you're like, oh, maybe that's not going to work out. You've got some time. You won't lose on the trade because you can actually get out of it in that case, or whatever your trading plan is. This is a lower high. We could be going for this 183. I want to be greedy, but at least if we take something off the table there. But this is a good entry for a swing, and it's not, and to me, when you're on a downward trend like this, you need to sell into strength. Right? You can have a trend line all the way down here, although we didn't have this high, but when we're looking back, Boeing here has been absolutely wrecked. The overall trend is bearish. So when we're trying to go long in an overall bearish market on the stock, then you want to be a little more nimble in taking your profit. So this comes up and then comes down, and we were talking about longs, but there are shorting opportunities as we break below prints. So we can see this here, big volume, made a lower low, and then you can hang on to this. And if we did the ATR for say $14 or $15 and go out 30, 60 days, then this might work out. This is a slow mover here daily, just going down, right? But there's that opportunity depending on your trading plan. But here's another engulfing. See this? We've got volume there, big rejection in the volume, and our retracement is back up to the print, back up to here. And then it got thrown up, down. And so what we can do as well, there seems to be almost missing teeth here with the print. So we had looked at before, we can search by price here. That's the lowest price is 138 in the last year, and the highest is 203. So let's just have a look to see what's around the 160 level. So we can just scroll down and see what's around 160. Well, there's a 2.7 million at 163, which is there. And then we've got 500,000, 155. These are kind of bunched together. and 520,153, something like that. And then if we go up, we can see that more prints are added to the chart. So now this is still moving up, but if we were going to swing this one, I'd want to be bullish above this line, 170.150, something like that, because that is an 800K print, and the current price is 169.52. Right, so 171.25 is a big level because it's a quarter of 5, right? And then so if we're looking left, we need to get above here. There's a gap that we're filling, and if we can close strong above here, then the next target, if we're looking left, could be up here and then up to the print, right? So we're going to trade it level to level that way. So there's a trade for you. Just looking at this, and I know I've been talking for a while, but above 171.25, above this print, or 171.50, then we have a potential trade all the way to 180, right? If that's the case. If we go back to our opportunities tab, but we found 2 right out of the gate. See, so out of 10,000 stocks, we got down to 15 that met our criteria in only a couple clicks, and then we can look at the chart, we can see the signal here, and we can do the same thing for shorts. And I'll change the signals, and I'll turn off the bullish signals, and then we can do exactly the same thing on the short side. So without me talking, you can spend 10 or 15 minutes and get some great trade setups just looking at the opportunities for longer term swings, so that you, once it hits your criteria for your trading plan, then get into the trade, take your profit when you say you're going to take your profit, leave your emotions out of it, and just trade the system that you actually have. Okay, so I hope you find this video interesting. Like and subscribe. Check out the software as well. There's lots of great features on that. Have a great trading week ahead. Take care.